This guy is Boyka, a former Special Forces soldier who just got discharged and returned home after many days of fighting. However, as soon as he got home, not even having a moment to rest, he received news from his sister that his niece had been kidnapped by some gangsters. The leader of this gang is the old man Garcia, the biggest drug lord in Mexico, whom no one dares to touch. Anger surging through him, Boyka immediately heads to the lair of these bastards. Known for fearing no one, he enters the elevator, determined to rescue his family no matter the cost. Garcia's gang members, handpicked from underground fight clubs and skilled in martial arts, were taken down effortlessly by Boyka, as if he was putting a child to bed. They tried using firearms, but Boyka was quick, dispatching them as swiftly as a lover turning cold, sending them straight to the afterlife. Even the top fighters, considered masters among the gang, couldn't withstand Boyka's assault. The gang's girls, upon seeing the beastly Boyka, scattered in fear. It didn't matter if they had short hair, bald heads, or long locks. Boyka showed them the true meaning of terror. Grabbing the gang leader by the collar, Boyka forced him to lead him to his niece. "If even a single hair on her head is harmed, you'll lose a tooth for it," Boyka warned. Finally, he found the girl handcuffed and in a state of panic. Showing no mercy, he dealt with the last remaining thug before unlocking the cuffs and leaving with his niece. Returning home, his sister was overjoyed, as she had finally reunited with her beloved daughter. At that moment, her lover, Renan, showed up. It turned out he was a lazy freeloader who had stolen some drugs from Garcia to sell and then vanished for a while. Garcia had kidnapped Haley to sell her to some rich criminals as payback. Boyka was about to beat up this deadbeat stepdad, but held back for his sister's sake. Knowing that Garcia was a ruthless gangster, Boyka told his sister and niece to leave town and hide, leaving the scoundrel behind to deal with the consequences. Unbeknownst to Boyka, the news of his intrusion infuriated Garcia. He couldn't believe some nobody had stormed his base, killed his men, and taken back his niece, along with something incredibly important. When Boyka took the necklace with the key to free his niece, he had inadvertently taken the gang's hard drive. It contained vital business information, evidence of their crimes, and bank account passwords. Whoever possessed it had the power to drain Garcia's funds. Swearing that he wouldn't stay in the underworld if he didn't get his revenge, the old man Garcia immediately called his hound dog, Sheriff Jusper, and said, "That scoundrel Renan stole my drugs, and that Boyka killed my men and took my stuff. If you don't catch those two, I'll force you into early retirement. I'm 70 years old, but I've never seen anything like this." Imagine a criminal calling the cops about his stolen drugs. Just as Boyka had predicted, the cops arrived swiftly. Not wanting to show himself, Boyka told his sister and niece to stay put while he hid in the backyard shed. Without saying a word, the sheriff immediately slapped a pair of handcuffs on Renan. Then he tried to question the mother and daughter about Boyka's whereabouts. "I'll ask one more time. Where's that guy hiding?" he demanded. "If you ask me, who am I supposed to ask? Why should I listen to your foul mouth?" Boyka's sister retorted, refusing to give him up. This infuriated the sheriff. Unexpectedly, Renan from the car poked his head out and snitched. "The pig-faced guy is hiding in the shed, officer." Boyka, inside, had a weapon ready, just waiting for the cops to charge so he could take them down. Being an ex-Special Forces soldier, a few local cops were nothing to him. Knowing that Garcia and his men would arrive any minute, Boyka decided to jump on his motorcycle, rev up the engine, and speed away as the best option. The useless cops could only watch him go, tears of frustration in their eyes. Knowing that letting Boyka escape would get him in trouble with Garcia, the sheriff ordered his 2 deputies to chase after him. A budget version of a Fast and Furious chase ensued. Despite Boyka pushing his old bike to its limits, the cops quickly caught up, constantly tailing him. One of them managed to shoot out Boyka's tire, causing him to lose control and stop. Their car crashed into his bike, but with his extraordinary reflexes, Boyka jumped out and fled, leaving them with only his bike. Meanwhile, the malicious Garcia and his men arrived, looking to confront Boyka. The sheriff, terrified, assured Garcia, "In just a few minutes, my men will bring him in." Garcia, knowing how tough Boyka was, immediately sent his top enforcers to assist. Renan, trying to apologize to Garcia for his foolishness, was met with a bullet, effectively removing him from the picture. Back in the chase, the 2 bumbling deputies were sweating profusely, but still couldn't find Boyka. Suddenly, he ambushed them, disarming and knocking out one. However, the other managed to restrain him from behind. At that moment, Garcia's hitmen arrived, saw the scuffle, and opened fire, killing one of the clueless deputies. Boyka helped the remaining cop, then quickly took cover behind a tree. The hitman, nicknamed Truck Monster, said, "They only need the hard drive." Boyka was stunned, recalling that he had grabbed a necklace while rescuing the girl. Sure enough, it had a hard drive, but he ignored it. With ammo running low, Boyka decided to use flanking tactics. Without the main protagonist's support, the cop left behind got shot and killed. With his last bullet, Boyka took down one enemy, then discarded his gun and left. The truck monster chased him but got kicked hard, disarming him. He said, "You killed my brother," revealing he was the brother of the man Boyka killed while rescuing Haley. They engaged in hand-to-hand combat, evenly matched. The brother seemed more skilled and attacked fiercely. Realizing he was losing, he pulled out a belt. Boyka drew a small dagger in response. After a fierce fight, Boyka grabbed the belt and threw him down. Seizing the moment, Boyka unleashed a flurry of knee and elbow strikes, then kicked him in the mouth, causing him to spit blood. Finally, Boyka strangled him to death. Old Man Gaia called through the radio but got no response from Truck Monster, realizing something was wrong. Losing the hard drive was unacceptable. He sent 2 more men with heavy weapons to hunt Boyka. Boyka found an AK-47 and quickly left. However, as he exited the hillside, the 2 men arrived. They charged at Boyka, but he dodged. One aimed his gun at Boyka, but Boyka used his sharpshooting skills to kill him, then escaped over the car roof. The other, fearless, pursued him. Cornered, Boyka leaped onto the car, shattered the windshield, and shot him painfully in the hand. Boyka forced him to reveal the hard drive's contents, bank account codes holding the organization's money. He killed the man, thinking he'd be better off in hell than working for Garcia. Losing more men, the evil old man and the police chief were terrified of Boyka's strength. Through his sister and the police, he learned that Boyka was a high-ranking Special Forces soldier from the U.S. military, notorious for his assassination missions and once breaking his superior's jaw, leaving him on a liquid diet. Boyka's sister warned, "My brother will come here and slaughter all of you." Garcia was now part stubborn, part terrified, blaming Police Chief Jasper for not warning him about Boyka's power. Jasper simply told him to worry about staying alive. The old man threatened, "I'll have someone check on your beloved son's health." However, the police chief was more terrified of Boyka killing him than the old man's threats, so he left immediately. As expected, after dealing with the henchmen, Boyka grabbed a gun and rushed back to rescue his sister and niece. Upon arriving home, he hid behind bushes to avoid detection, then stealthily attacked a guard outside, strangling him with a gun before he could react. Inside, the evil old man noticed his guards were being killed and realized that death, in the form of Boyka, had arrived. He took Boyka's sister and niece hostage, threatening, "If you don't surrender, I'll blow their brains out." Concerned for their lives, Boyka reluctantly revealed himself, pretending to surrender while looking for a chance to strike back. The old man demanded, "Give me the hard drive, and I might show mercy." Boyka knew they'd kill all 3 of them regardless. He approached to hand over the hard drive. When the henchmen reached to take it, Boyka suddenly punched him and swiftly shot the one threatening his sister and niece. They quickly ran inside the house, Boyka miraculously dodging bullets. A fierce gunfight ensued. Boyka blocked the main door with a cabinet to prevent them from shooting through. It was a tense standoff. His sister grabbed a gun from the house, joining the fight. Boyka and his sister fired from the windows while the attackers took cover behind cars outside. Despite the intense shootout, neither side seemed to get hit, wasting a lot of the director's bullets. Garcia couldn't bomb or burn the house since the hard drive was inside, so he sent 2 henchmen to flank the back door for a surprise attack. Boyka anticipated this, intercepting them with his military-trained shooting skills, temporarily holding them off. He told his sister and niece to hide upstairs while he stayed downstairs to hold them off. However, the 2 intruders broke in. One, disoriented, was taken out by Boyka with a single shot to the neck. The other met the same fate after a surprise attack. During the struggle, their gun pointed upwards, almost hitting Boyka's sister. Luckily, it only grazed her arm, thanks to some divine intervention. Downstairs, Boyka knocked the opponent's gun away and started landing punches, not missing a single one. The guy pulled out a knife to attack, but he was no match for Boyka. Moving quickly, Boyka dodged to the side, threw a punch, and smashed his head onto the table, killing him instantly. Upstairs, the girl Hale was terrified by the gunfire. She immediately called 911, reaching the federal police instead of the local ones. The operator quickly contacted Jesper, the local police chief, to handle the situation. Through Hale's phone, the federal police heard the gunshots, and Jesper knew there was no hiding it anymore. Feeling guilty, he decided to go back and help Boyka. Knowing this might be his last mission, he called his son to hear his voice one last time, holding back tears. Outside, Old Man Garcia called on the radio, but when his two henchmen didn't respond, his blood pressure dropped, and he ordered all his forces to storm in. 2 attacked from the front and 2 from the back simultaneously. Realizing their firepower was too strong and his AK was running out of ammo, Boyka dashed upstairs to find a better position to counterattack. By then, the police chief had arrived, donning a bulletproof vest like a badass. Inside, Garcia tried to persuade Boyka to hand over the hard drive, promising to burn the house down with them inside. But Boyka, though handsome, wasn't naive. He told his sister and niece to quickly climb out the window while he stayed behind to hold off the thugs. Not hearing from Boyka, Garcia ordered his men to shoot through the roof. Luckily, Boyka's sister and Hale escaped to safety. Seeing them safe, Boyka was determined to take down these goons. Hearing their footsteps approaching, he smashed through the door, hitting one guy's hand. In a stroke of bad luck, his AK ran out of bullets. He kicked the door open and charged, immediately overpowering one thug and using him as a human shield. He grabbed a gun and jumped downstairs to attack another thug. They exchanged gunfire, but no one was hit. Taking advantage of a reload, Boyka kicked the door open and engaged in close combat. In the tight space, he disarmed the thug with a few wild punches. The thug upstairs, who had been knocked out by Boyka's door kick, woke up and joined the fight, stabbing Boyka in the side. Instantly, Boyka went into high-level rampage mode, taking on both thugs like a beast unleashed, every move lethal. If these guys are lucky enough to survive today, they'll be digging through the dirt to find their teeth. In the end, Boyka snatched a knife and stabbed one of them to death, while the other one got grabbed by the ankles and stabbed in the groin, making him scream in agony. Outside, Hallie and her mother quickly ran into a shed, planning to start the car and escape. But suddenly, Old Man Garcia appeared behind them like a menacing shadow. He took them hostage and said, "I only need one of you as a hostage. The other one will have to die." Just as things looked dire, the police chief appeared and shot Garcia in the stomach, ending his drug-dealing career right there. It seemed like the police chief had turned over a new leaf, but his greed took over. He wanted the hard drive to steal bank accounts, so he took Hallie and her mother hostage, demanding Boyka hand over the drive. Unexpectedly, Boyka showed up like a hero and shot the chief twice in the chest. However, the old man was wearing a bulletproof vest, so it didn't affect him. He reached for his gun, but Boyka stepped on it, stopping him. Instead of attacking, Boyka gave him 2 choices: handcuff himself and surrender, or face him in a duel like real men. After a tense stare down, knowing they couldn't keep looking without developing feelings, the police chief drew his gun, but was too slow. In the end, everything was over. Boyka handed the hard drive to Hallie and her mother, said goodbye, and rode off on his horse to a distant place. The federal police arrived right on cue, proving that they always show up late to the party. From then on, the legend of Boyka, the Special Forces soldier, remained a terror for criminals in Mexico. The movie shows us that in any organization, there are good and bad people. However, the bad ones are the minority and just a few rotten apples. Greed leads to corruption and a bitter end. That's the end of today's movie. I've put the title at the beginning of the description so you can search for the full movie on Google. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support me. If you have any other movies you'd like me to summarize, leave your suggestions in the comments. Thank you all.